What's up? It is Wednesday night. Typically, I know I've been saying this a lot lately. Typically, these are behind the paywall, but I've been approaching the Discord channel and just asking because they are the main driver of this content. It's one of the things I'm most proud about the community we built on Patreon. All the decisions most of the decisions that go into the content that we provide to you guys and the avenue in which we do and the style in which we do, it comes straight from Patreon. So those guys over there have a big hand in what we do, and I prefer it that way. Again, it's one of the things I'm most proud about, that I'm, not necessarily giving them a voice, but they have a very strong voice in that Discord channel and in that family. So tonight I just asked them, like I always do with these live sessions that are supposed to be behind paywall, hey, are you guys cool with me going live? Every single one of them? Yeah, absolutely, do it. And they understand why. They understand that if I give you a little bit of this, give you a little bit of taste of what we do, a small portion of what we do, I don't give you the inside intel, even though tonight's going to be, this projected class is going to be a little bit based off the inside intel that I give out to those guys. Most of this stuff they got several weeks ago. So they understand that when we give this out, it just makes the community bigger. It just grows the platform that we have. And that's what they're all about, as is what I'm all about. I want as many people to be a part of that family as humanly possible. And not just for personal gain, but for you guys as well. That's something that we pride ourselves on, is growing it, and not only growing it, but remaining intact and remaining with the same ideals that we started it upon back in September or October of last year. So appreciate you guys for being here. As you can tell by the title of this YouTube video, we've got a projected 2022 defensive backs class. I thought this was fitting for tonight's film session because of what's happened this week, right? Bear Alexander's decommitment obviously doesn't affect the defensive backs class, but maybe it does in the sense that there's more room now, right? But Deon Bowie's decommitment certainly impacts this 2022 defensive backs class. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, we're not going to break down Bowie tonight, okay? Something we did for the Patreon guys, I believe, back when he committed a while ago. So we've done some Smoke Bowie film study. We're not going to do it tonight. There's some reasons behind that. I do still think Georgia recruits him, but there's really no precedence for losing a caliber recruit that he is, that's been committed for well over a year, losing him 6 months before signing day, and then getting back into that mix. I think they're going to, direct their attention elsewhere. And you'll see why tonight. I think that's probably going to be a better thing in the long haul for the University of Georgia, because now they have room to really go after and recruit hard one of my favorite players in this class, and we're going to get to him. So as these things work, if you haven't seen these before, we're going to go through each individual player. I got 6 of them for you tonight. We're going to try to stay in tight windows, work in tight windows, which is something that's borderline impossible for a yabber like me. So Dicko's back there. His job tonight is to keep me on time and on schedule through all 6 of these breakdowns. And it's really going to be 5, but I'm going to rank them and give player comps for each individual one. I think you guys are going to enjoy this, as most people do with our film breakdown. So appreciate you for being here. I do have to ask you, hit that thumbs up while you're watching it. That's how we get higher and higher up the feed. That's how we trick them YouTube algorithms. So if you would, please support the show by doing that for me. Just off the top, I'm going to tell you the names that we're going to break down, right? And then we'll rank them. You got the 2 current commits, Malachi Starks, Marquis Groves Killebrew, also known as MGK. We'll break those 2 guys down. Keon Saab, Jake Pope, Trequan Fagins, and of course, Kamari Wilson are the guys that we're going to be watching tonight and in depth. But there is one guy, and I'm going to start with this, that we're not going to break down tonight because I'm not going to bother you with the tape that I saw. It's not bad tape in the sense that the player on the tape is bad, but the tape in and of itself is awful. He's not in the picture half the 3/4 of the time. He's playing wide receiver. He's playing a little safety, but you never see him other than the interceptions. And it's literally just him catching the ball and then getting to see what he's doing after the catch. So we can evaluate Keon Sabb as the athlete that he is, and it is Sabb, by the way. We could evaluate him for just the pure athlete that he is, but I'm not going to be able to tell you whether or not he's going to be a good safety on the SEC level based off the tape that is available, okay? The rest of the big schools, they've probably got actual game tape of IMG Academy where he was this year. I don't. I'm not privy to that film study and that film evaluation, so I'm not going to bother you with something that I honestly don't know. There is an NA, a non-applicable grade right now for me on Keon Sabb until I either A, see him in person, or B, see some very much updated film. Until then, I don't feel comfortable giving you an evaluation on him. The rest of these guys, I've got plenty of film and plenty of information to go about breaking him down. So I do think he not sneaks into this class. I do think he's a member of this 2022 class for Georgia. As of today, I would project him in there as a safety / star / whatever they use him as, not a corner and not a linebacker, okay? 6'3", 200 pounds. He's a big dude, and he is a very athletic big dude. So that's what I think Georgia's going to be recruiting a little bit more. All of these guys are 6 foot plus that we're going to be evaluating tonight. So Keon Sabb, I'm sorry if you came here to find out who he was. I'm still wondering who he is as well as a football player. So I apologize for that. But without further ado, let's shut up and let's grind this tape. All right, so we're going to start with Jake Pope, the kid out of Buford High School. This is a guy that really jumped onto the scene in 2020 because of what he put on tape as a junior. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you've seen pictures of Jake Pope, you probably got this preconceived notion of whatever this dude is. I'm telling you right now, apart from Malachi Starks, this is the most explosive and dynamic athlete that we will be breaking down tonight. It's not even particularly close with the other 3 guys apart from Malachi Starks. We'll talk about him as we get to him later in the film study, but this guy right here, stupid explosive. I mean, absolutely stupid explosive, and you're gonna see it right here on this first clip. He is out down on the bottom. This is North Cobb High School in a playoff game, and watch him elevate over a defender and bring that football down. I don't know what he's going to play positionally in college. I just know Georgia's recruiting him as a defensive back. Part of me wants him to be a receiver because of the playmaking ability that he has. But again, if you came in here thinking you're going to find some gritty, tough, hard-nosed athlete or whatever, that's fine. He is all of those things. But he's also extremely, extremely explosive, okay? Absolutely dynamic. This is a bona fide 4-4 athlete, okay? Absolutely 1,000% bona fide. And here you're going to see it right here. He's going to sneak in, and it's hard to see because it's blurry. He's going to sneak in, and what I want you guys to see is this moment right here. Watch him get up the sideline and turn that gas on. There is just a different level of speed that this young man has, okay? And he's listed at about 6'1", 190. Maybe he is that. I see an athlete that's closer to 6 foot, but I have people that have verified measurements on him that say he's 6'1", so we're going to go with it. Here's a little double move from him within the slot. We're not going to do too much offensive breakdown stuff tonight on these guys, but you're going to see a lot of them. They play both ways, okay? A lot of these guys play both ways at big schools too, okay? These aren't, single A. This is a striker, dog. Look at this. Coming downhill, all right, identifying the play in front of him, right? And then coming downhill with no regard. He is out of the screen right now. He is back here hanging out, okay? When the play begins to, progress, there he comes into your screen. And from this point right here, there is no slowing down. There's no unzipping your feet. There's none of that. He's coming down a hill like a bat out of hell, and he's going to strike, okay? Every single time he's going to strike. Some more explosive measurements for you here. I mean, look at the break. Look at him get out and come down and strike again. Okay, that break, right, to go from a back pedal to a downward hill. I mean, that's the very first drill you go through at all these camps this summer. They're going to put you through the M drill or the W drill, whatever you want to call it. They're going to back you up, break you down, back you up, break you down. How many, this is the question for you guys, how many 6 foot, 6'1" wide receivers, or in this case, defensive back, athlete, whatever, how many of these guys are you seeing goal line fades being thrown to? I mean, honestly, think about it. A guy that has the physical stature of Jake Pope, how many of these guys are getting goal line fades? I mean, seriously. But this is the explosive nature. Take a look at him. Again, I mean, he is the definition of going to meet it at its highest point at all times. Obviously, these things translate to the defensive side of the ball as well. I want my defensive backs to have ball skills. Honestly, it's one of the very first things I check for. If you can dislodge the ball, that's fine. If you can turn the defense or the offense over and give us the ball back, you are an invaluable asset to my football team. And this is one of those guys. Most of these guys we're going to watch tonight are really, really good at that. Some more athletic, more of his athletic measurables on display. This kid's electric, man. I mean, he fell down right there, but grass was a little wet. Yeah, turf monsters. This kid is every bit of a dynamic and explosive athlete that there is, okay? Again, if Malachi Starks weren't involved, this would be the most, the biggest specimen, if you will, pound for pound on this film study tonight. Again, I like him as a wide receiver. Look at the double moves. This guy is developed. He is a developed route runner. And as an evaluator, right, you like to see that. He's not just a guy that's mailing it in at either position. He's a guy that's figuring out the nuances to every position. But as a wide receiver, there's none of this that really translates to safety except how this play ends. Look, okay, so how many times have you seen this? A defender moving this way, right? Let's say he was the near side safety. Okay, ball gets thrown to the corner. You've got to flip your hips, turn, run up underneath this ball, catch it over your shoulder. That's a translatable football play, right? That's being able to take what someone's doing on offense and apply it to what they potentially could do on defense. Ball skills on 10, every single time. My last note on this kid comes from this clip right here. This guy is just a football player, dude. This is Langston Hughes. These are really, really good athletes out here that he's playing against. He's going to fight through what is an illegal chop block right here. This wide receiver is going to come out here and go low on Pope. He's going to get him, okay? He's going to knock him down. Pope's going to crawl through this and then make this tackle. This kid is every bit of just a football player and a really, really explosive one. Again, this is a bona fide, and we're already moving on to the next one. This is a bona fide 4-4 athlete, okay? 4-4 athlete with a damn near sub 4 flat 5'10" 5. I want you to think about that, okay? NFL corners, NFL safeties, I think they average around 4.2. If you get anywhere to that 4 even, you are beyond dynamic, okay? Prime example, the only guy I know of on Georgia's roster that in high school was running near 4 flat or sub 4 in the 5'10" 5 is a guy by the name of Dominic Blaylock. And you guys remember coming out of high school what kind of dynamic athlete that kid was. Dom was a 5-star almost based solely off of his physical stature or his physical measurements, right? Because the numbers at Walton, they were impressive, but most teams they played, the whole defense was designed to stop Dominic. So yeah, he might have had 600, 700, 800 yards receiving, but it wasn't anything out of this world, okay? So Pope is that level of athlete. He absolutely 100% is. And for that matter, I think he's going to be in this class. He comes in number 5 tonight. Again, Keon Sabb, an unranked guy for me in tonight's film study for the reasons I laid out. But Jake Pope makes this list, and he gets in this class, I believe, because Georgia's coaching staff loves this kid. They absolutely love this kid. And guess what? If he doesn't go to Georgia, he's going to Alabama, he's going to Clemson, and he's going to Ohio State, or maybe UNC slides in there. I don't see that happening. This is a big boy recruitment, is what we call it with the Patreon family, okay? This is a blue blood recruit. This is a guy that's going to go to a national powerhouse wherever he goes. I think he ends up at Georgia. It's a Georgia kid. The Georgia staff is smitten with him for all of the character reasons and for all of the explosive measurable reasons, and the film is pretty daggum amazing as well. He actually, he didn't win the state title, but against Lee County, he was the main reason they won a state title. Lee County was driving down the length of the field. They were about to score, I think it was in overtime, and boom, Jake Pope right at the goal line, sticks his helmet on the football, pops it out, fumble, Buford recovers, state champion. Okay, so the guy's a winner, and he's got insane measurables. My player comp for you is Justin Reed. Okay, for those of you who don't know, he was a safety out of Stanford, got drafted in the 2nd round by the Houston Texans, and has been playing ever since, okay? Not one of these guys that's like a huge hitter, not one of these guys that's only known for his coverage ability, not one of these guys that's only known for his ball skills, but one of these guys that is well-rounded and can do all of them. On top of that, an extremely smart football player. Justin Reed is the comp. I fought tooth and nail. I spent longer today figuring out Jake Pope's player comparison than I did watching his film, and here's why. I was fighting so hard not to compare him to Harrison Smith, the safety for Minnesota out of Notre Dame. Fighting so hard not to make the lazy comp of Jake Pope to Harrison Smith. If you don't know who Harrison Smith is, Google him, and you'll figure out why that's funny, considering the rant I had on lazy takes earlier in the week. Dicko just got the joke. All right, up next, number 4 on the board, and this is going to shock some people, okay, that this guy's quote-unquote this low, but you guys know how I am. I'm a little counterintuitive to the rest of the industry. I have my own opinions, and I'm not afraid to share them. Number 4 on my board, Kamari Wilson, okay, defensive back / safety out of IMG Academy. As we go through this, I'm going to tell you what I want him to play or what I think he's going to play in college. I would tell you after. I'm going to tell you now so you see it as we're going through it. I think this kid, especially if he comes to Georgia, I think this kid plays star. I think he plays in the nickel like he's lined up right now, okay? I think this is where he lives in college because I don't think he's an over-the-top linear athlete, straight line speed guy. This isn't a 4.42, 4-flat shuttle guy like Jake Pope. This is a kid that has elite ball skills, first of all, elite ball skills. Secondly, doesn't have elite measurables, right? And third, dude likes to hit, okay? All of those things tell me you should be somewhere in and around the box, right? And here's, I believe, the first ball skills type of play you're going to see right here. Number 2, I believe it is, runs a deep out right here. Keon is just completely uninterested in this. He's sitting on the speed out and then undercuts the route on this poorly thrown football, and it's crib. I mean, it's nothing but Sick City right here, okay? Too easy. IMG Academy does this to a lot of people. This is a guy that I think had north of 115 tackles as a sophomore at IMG Academy. Think about that. North of 115 tackles in one season. Now, this is what I like about him, right? This is why I think he is a star for Georgia. If you want to play him at safety, that's fine. But the redirect on this kid, the first 20 yards on this kid are beyond elite. He turns, he runs, and he strikes. That is what we call arriving with violence, okay? I don't want you to just get there. I want you to get there and make them know that you just got there like this right here, especially if you're going to play anywhere near the box in college. And this right here is why I want him shutting down every bit of RPO games. I want him shutting down every bit of screen games. I want him doing all that. I want him to shut down everything in between the hashes because he's got these kind of ball skills. Check this out. Breaks back left, or breaks left, understands that there's a slant coming in behind him, and as the ball is just absolutely rocketed behind him, he jumps all the way back behind his shoulders, picks that ball off, and then goes and tries to make a play afterwards. Honestly, he reminds me just a little bit of Richard LeCount in the sense that when I watch him on tape, I don't see a 4.5 runner. I damn sure don't see a 4.4 runner. I see a guy that's closer to around that 4.6, 4.7 range right now in high school. And that's okay as long as you're doing this type of stuff. As long as you're coming downhill and you're striking and you've got elite ball skills and you can cover, which we're going to show you a little bit right here. Look at, this is the best play on the tape. No doubt about it. This is the best play on the tape right here. He should have led the tape off with it. He's in there in the slot. He undercuts the route and then dives, fully lays out, picks his ball off. That right there makes me think, man, those other 3 guys you got ahead of this dude must be elite, because they are. I like Kamari's game a lot. I do think he projects to a nickel corner. But that play right there. And I was telling Dicko this before the show. You got to be very, very careful when you're evaluating, and we're going to talk about this here in a second. You got to be very, very careful when you're evaluating players at IMG Academy. And here's why. Because unlike 99.9% of high school football programs across the country, this dude's on the field with 10 other SEC, ACC, Pac-12, Big Ten, Power 5 guys. 10 of them. He's one of 11 that will go play major Power 5 football. So what that means is, whereas at, let's say Jefferson, right? We're going to get to Malachi Starks here in a second. He might be one of 2, and now that Sammy Brown's on that roster, maybe one of 3 players on the entire roster, not just the starting defense, on the entire roster that are Power 5 caliber. Does that make sense? So Malachi Starks looks like the freak that he is, and he is a freak, and we're going to get to him, but this guy may not stand out and pop as much because there's 10 other guys around him. So you got to be very, very careful when you're evaluating these guys, what you're looking at, right? Now, this is what I love to see, and you know, he's not a commit to Georgia, but I think Georgia leads here. That's why he's on my projected class. But this kid put some special teams tape on there. Why do I care about that? Well, I care about special teams because no matter who you are, whether you're Trequan Walker, Jalen Carter on field goals, Smile Mondon this year, whoever you are, I don't care how highly recruited you are, you're going to play special teams. Zamir White was playing special teams last year as a junior. You're going to play special teams, and you got to be committed to doing so. This kid's committed to doing so in high school. So that's a kid I want. And I love how he tracks the near hip right here. We talk about this all the time. What does it mean to track the near hip? That hip. We don't want to track the backside hip. Why? Because that opens you up for this. And guess what? If we're tracking the near hip and he decides to do this, well, baby, we just made SportsCenter with a big hit. Watch here. Boom! Right? That's what it's all about right there. Playing special teams and playing it hard. I like to see that. Some more elite ball skills, just attacking the ball in the air. I mean, absolutely attacking the ball in the air. Gotta love to see that. We've got an open field tackle right here, fighting through a block and arriving with power. Again, Georgia's, this is why I comp him to a star or think he's going to move into the star. If you've watched Georgia play for the last, 3 years when they really started using this nickel package a lot, Georgia star is asked to do so much. They got to take on tackles in the run game every once in a while. They've got to they got to be the alley defender 9 times out of 10 to the field, right? Which is where most of the offenses nowadays are trying to run their offense. If they're running the ball, they want to run to space on an inside zone type of track and put the safety or the star one-on-one in the alley. This kid's not going to miss. Very similar to Tyke Smith in that fashion, where if you watch that film breakdown, you saw dude's an elite tackler. Elite tackler. He very rarely gets beat in open field. This kid's the same way. The same exact way. And there's another example of him running the alley and just doing it with physicality. I love to see that. When I turn tape on, I want, especially as a safety, right? Some of these corners we're going to watch tonight, I care, but I don't really care that much. I put more evaluation in your cover skills. This kid likes to strike, and I'm there for that. And here's the hips, right? The last evaluation point for me. I got to know you have good instincts as a safety. I got to know that you want to hit, right? And I got to know that you can cover in the slot. And I got to know how fluid those hips are. This isn't Pitch Perfect, or Picture Perfect, excuse me. Pitch Perfect, great movie. If you disagree, fight me. We can meet after the show. Anyways, there you see the hip turn. Open it up to the boundary, flipping back into the field, undercutting the route, dislodging the football. It's pitch perfect. Did it again. All right. So in conclusion, on my boy Kamari Wilson. Again, I do think he's a star. The combination of the coverage ability, the ball skills, the striking ability, star. He's got a good bit of suddenness to his game. I struggle to see the long speed, which is why I struggle to say, yeah, let's put him at deep field safety and see what he can do. I want to see this guy in and around the box, and he plays with no fear. That's exactly why I want him there. He's going to be involved, on a defense that's going to require him to play in and around the box in college, I think. So I want you to play with no fear. My NFL player comparison for this guy is a guy that just got paid in the NFL, Justin Simmons. If you don't know who it is, look it up. Plays just like this kid, as most of my comps are. Dead on. You got something, you look like you're standing up. You just standing up because you want to stand up? Okay, coming up on that 8-minute mark. Let's move on to our next one. Good job, Dicko, keeping the boss reined in. Appreciate you here. Now, another Georgia commit comes in at number 3 on my board. That's MGK, Marquis Groves Killebrew. About half of these videos, like we showed you with Denylon Morissette, you're going to see me in. I saw Marquis Killebrew more than any other prospect in the country last year because Brookwood, for me, was the place to be. I knew they had a shot at Denylon Morissette. I knew they liked Sam Mbake, and they still do. And I knew Marquis Groves Killebrew, a commit. And I love watching Andre Stewart play football. And, of course, Dylan Lonergan, who is my number 2 quarterback, number 3-ish quarterback on the board in 2023 behind only Arch Manning. All dudes over this field, including Trey Staley, last year was a member of Kansas's class. So 6 or 7, maybe 8 Power 5 big-time football players here on this Brookwood roster, and they play in Gwinnett County. So a lot of these teams I needed to see anyways. All right, this kid right here, definition of a cover corner. And when I say that, I mean he can play off, like you just saw. He can play walk down man-to-man. He can play zone. He's got great ball skills. Like here, his head, I know you can't see it, but his head's already turned back to the football that's right there. He's going to track this thing like he's daggum Jerry Rice catching a ball from Joe Montana. And then catch it in the basket and turn around and go make a play. The dude is as physically, he's exactly what Georgia wants. They want 6'2", really long, really, if you come in thin, that's fine. I can put weight on you, which they're going to need to put weight on him. But he's about 6'2", $185. And he's got explosive measurables. He can get after it. And the thing that I love most about Marquis is the fact that despite being committed, and I don't know if you guys know how this works, but most commits, when they go to their school during the summer, they don't camp. They walk around and act like the biggest hot shot in the building. They don't work out, most of them. Not the case this year at Georgia. Not the case. Marquis Groves-Killebrew drove himself up there twice in the opening week and competed his backside off. And proved to everybody why he was not only the number one corner that they took in 2022, but the first player that they took in 2022. And I'll be honest with you, he's not going nowhere. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think this is a kid that ends up at Georgia and plays very, very early. He will contribute for Georgia very early because of this stuff right here. He tracks the ball. Again, he not only tracks it, he attacks it. This is Daniel Martin. This kid's 6'3", pushing up on 6'4". This is a big physical athlete that plays both outside backer and tight end for Marietta. And guess who's out jumping him for the football? Marquis Groves-Killebrew. The kid puts his eyes on the football better than most corners you'll ever find on the high school level. And again, I know you're thinking, man, he sure is hyping this kid up. How in the heck is he number 3? Well, you probably came into this knowing who number 1 is, but you probably didn't think who number 2 is going to be is number 2 for me. But guess what? I'm a spoiler alert here. He's one of my guys. Now, this is, to me, the clip that explains Marquis Groves-Killebrew. He's as technically sound as any corner you'll find in 2022, honestly. He's in a cover 3 drop, so he's going to push and carry with whoever's the deepest man, right? As the ball is thrown, he's going to open back up. His chest is to this side of the field. On this speed out right here, he's going to open up with his left shoulder, get his hips back open, drive down on this route, and dislodge this football immediately. Watch this. These breaks right here, that break right there on that ball, and I know the tape's from a mile away. That break right there, I'm going to get this dude paid on Sundays. I'm telling you. This kid has every, bit of skill set that there is needed to play on Sundays. And he's a great athlete, obviously. Playing a little offense. This was, let's see where your boy's at. I don't think you can see me. Nope, you can't. I started it all over. Anyways, look at that. Selfish me. Now, I don't sugarcoat nothing. I don't. So let me hit you with the downside as to why he is number 3. Marquis Groves-Killebrew, last year in high school, was very selective on when he wanted to tackle. Very, very selective. And to me, that's something you can't turn on and off, okay? Again, I saw him a bunch, and I would tell him this right now. Matter of fact, if he's listening, Marquis, I was worried last year about your willingness to tackle. Now, here's the thing. In that Marietta football game, there was a 4th and 2 on the goal line. Guess who made the play? Marquis. So when the time is right and when he needed to, he would come downhill and strike. He would put his head across the body of the ball carrier and bring him down. Okay, so it's there. But there has to be a willingness, okay? My NFL player comp is Greedy Williams for this guy. Greedy, if you remember, back in college, was an elite cover corner, right? One of the best in the country. But the only problem was he didn't really want to tackle, okay? And I don't see a consistent willingness to tackle right now for Marquis Groves-Killebrew. And there's probably a bunch of reasons for that, right? Probably, I'm not going to say didn't want to get hurt, whatever it was. There's a bunch of reasons for not wanting to go out and tackle every single time as a corner because honestly, most of them don't want to. I was talking to a really high-profile corner today, one that I think gets moved to safety in college, and I asked him, I said, do you like to hit? And he goes, oh yeah, I like to hit. I said, but do you love to hit? And he goes, Nah, I'd much prefer a big interception over a big hit. All these kids, they grew up playing 7-on-7. They don't want to strike. Most of them don't want to come down here and strike, and that's okay. Okay? That's fine, as long as you're a bona fide cover corner, which that kid right there is. Again, that kid's coverage ability is going to make him play on Sundays, as is this next guy I'm going to show you, who is number 2 on my board, who is a guy that is pretty highly rated by the rest of the scouting community, but he's my guy, okay? And you guys know by now that when I go all in on my guys, you ain't going to hear nothing else about him. Today on Twitter, I compared this kid to Patrick Surtain. And if you can, Dicko, while I'm over here running my mouth, pull up some Patrick Surtain huddle from Trinity Christian or wherever he was back in high school when he was the number 1 player in the country at corner. Pull that up for me, because I want people to understand where I'm coming from on this, because the two could not be any more similar in terms of what they put on tape. The test measurables are a little bit different. I don't really care about that, because I guarantee you Patrick Surtain, from the moment he was 8 years old, was learning how to do combine measurables. I promise you. His dad was an NFL player. He was taught how to do these things. Trequan Fagins is just a good old boy from Alabama. Okay, he don't know none of that stuff. We'll get to it here in just a second. So minimize it for me, my guy. All right, let's watch some Fagins for you. Because, again, this is my guy. Let me tell you this right now. His sophomore year, he had 6 interceptions. He took 5 of them back for a touchdown. 5 of them. 5 for 6 on pick sixes when he got the ball in his hands. And after that, people just stopped. They just stopped throwing at him. And this kid's got an insane family pedigree. Here's what I'm talking about. It's fitting that this is the first clip. He just finds the end zone every single time. Never drops interceptions, doesn't do anything, and he's massive. This is just a bona fide 6'2" corner. This kid can go, okay? Another prime example of this. Now, a lot of you may not be fully initiated into what Alabama football is. This Birmingham division, this Birmingham region, where you're going to see Pinson Valley, you're going to see some really good football teams on this tape that you've probably never even heard of. It's a bona fide division. There are dudes in this conference, okay? I believe they definitely played, he went to Alabama, the nose tackle, and Scooby Williams went to Florida. They played that football team as well this year. So there's some guys that they're playing against every single week, week in, week out. That clip right there, I mean, when I see him running, like, I see Pat Surtain, but, I mean, look, it may just be the color of the jerseys and the number. And this is a rare air number, or rare air name that I'm going to mention right here. But he kind of looks like Keely Ringo. Does he not? I mean, honestly. He don't quite play like Keely in terms of finesse and raw power, but he dang sure looks like him. You're going to see him get his head back onto the football. Just a natural playmaker. A natural playmaker. Always dislodges the ball. Always turns teams over. He's just one of those guys. One of those guys. Really well trained as well. This is a goal line fade, I believe, against Quincy Mckinstry, the kid going to Alabama. Okay? And there you see him get his head around. Okay? He knows what's coming. He's getting his head back around, and he's looking for the football. And now he's going to go high point the football and attack it and swipe it away. That's textbook goal line defense right there on a goal line fade. Really well coached, really well taught, really well trained. And this is the stuff that really sold the comparison for me, as we're going to show you some clips here in a second of, see these long strides that look really smooth? Okay? Never gets caught. Never. I like that. I like every bit of this kid's game. We're going to let it run until we get to 326, which is my next one, which is, let's go ahead and get to it, because I got some ones I need. I got some ones I absolutely need here. You know what I need? I need someone to develop a software that's not dog water like Huddle. This is a slant for Mckinstry. Now, Mckinstry, if y'all don't know, probably one of the better athletes in that class last year in 2021. Went to Alabama, actually beat Brandon Turnage out. That's why Turnage hit the portal. One of the reasons why Turnage hit the portal, in my opinion. And this kid can go. Like, he puts people on their butt when he just runs simple slants. And here you see Fagins one-on-one on the outside with him. And this is what length does for you guys. These next couple of photos, these next couple of clips, that's what I'm going to show you. It's what length does for you. When you're maybe just a hair beat, right? That guy's got inside leverage on him. He got inside. But when you're 6'2", got the arms of a 6'5" guy, you can just get your hands in there and dislodge the football. Just boop, poke it right out, incomplete. Let's get on to the next down. That's exactly what happens. More length right here. More length. Watch him stab him right as he comes off the line of scrimmage. Boom, right there. And completely throws off the route of this wide receiver. The ball is thrown 20 yards over his head. Watch that left arm. I'm going to see if I can get it paused. I can't. Right there. Boom. That stick right there. This kid, his arm's right there, and Fagins has it in his chest, completely dislodging his crap. Okay? That's what length does for me, or for you as a corner. For me as a scout, it allows me to it lets me know that you're going to get away with some things in college in terms of, you know, whether or not you are a 4.4 runner, which I don't think this kid is. Whether or not you are a 4.4 runner, if you're not, if you've got 6'5" arms on a 6'2" frame, you're going to be able to touch people before they're off the line of scrimmage, so it's not going to matter. They can't run by you if they're held at the line of scrimmage, which you can still do in college. You can hold within 5, right? 447 is the last one. Actually, we're going to go to 5'11". Is the last one we're going to get to before we get into our number one player of the night, which you guys know by now is Malachi Starks, obviously. I think Malachi Starks is the best pound-for-pound athlete in the country. I don't think that's up for debate. I really don't. Watch him run for another touchdown, wave bye-bye to some defenders. This is the last clip I wanted to show you. Blocks the field goal with his length. Before you can even get the camera back on him, he's already picked the ball up and scooped, and now he's going to go score. This dude had more offensive touchdowns than your favorite player, or defensive touchdowns than your favorite player did on offense last year, I promise you. The dude is a natural-born playmaker, and in a world of college football where opportunistic defense is key, being able to turn your opponent over, because the way rules are in college football, the odds of you sustaining or, you know, living through a drive and just giving up a touchdown are pretty high nowadays, right? Offenses are running at a higher clip than ever. So what do? You need to turn them over. Fighting for punts, that's all great. But if I can turn you over, it's done with. The comparison for me is Patrick Surtain. And since we pulled it up, let's watch some Surtain highlights after we just spent 3 or 4 minutes watching Trequan Fagins. Okay? And I want you guys to see what I saw. Because when you hear it, you're probably like, this guy, I mean, he must be on something. Patrick Surtain just went in the top 10 of the NFL draft. Yeah, that's fine. The film's a little bit better in terms of quality, but it's the same dude. It's the same dude. Look at the long strides, right? Look at nobody being able to catch up with him. Look at the moves and the playmaking ability and finding the end zone, the natural nose for an end zone, right? The 6'2" frame, the really long arms. Fagins isn't as clean of a prospect as this guy, but that's it. Now, you're going to say, and I said it to myself, God, he looks a whole lot faster than Fagins, and he is, but a lot of compounding that is you're at field level, so the guy's going to look a lot faster on tape. So just to let you know on that one. The player comp, I hope, makes a little bit more sense now because, again, I know it sounds blasphemous to say a high school kid that's, you know, ranked or rated whatever he is the next Patrick Surtain, but to me he is. And this is the playmaking ability that I'm talking about. Always dislodging the football, always figuring out a way to get the ball back for your football team. That's it right there. Now, with Malachi Starks, I really don't even feel like breaking it down. I just feel like just letting you see it and just watching it roll because it's that impressive. But we're going to watch this game here first, and you're going to see what he can do offensively. You're going to see what he can do offensively. And I want you to know that this is a 6'3", 205-pound athlete that ran 10.5 in the 100 and 21.6 in the 200. This is insane what this dude does on tape. Absolutely crazy. And honestly, I think he's going to play safety in college. I want him to touch the ball. I really do. I want him to have the ball in his hands at some point in college because he does really, really special things with it, honestly. Really special things with it. I really believe you could ask this kid to do absolutely anything on a college football field, and he'll say, yes, sir, and then he'll go out there and be the best in America at it. My comparison for Malachi Starks, and again, we're going to be a lot shorter here because I've already done a bunch of Starks breakdown. Here he is right here. I was expecting him to decapitate someone on this, and he doesn't, unfortunately. I was expecting a dead body right there, and it didn't end up happening. But look, there's some development because he just hasn't been a natural safety like for every down, right? When you play this much, when you're the sole focus of the offense and the sole focus of the defense, there are going to be some things that you miss out on Indy's period because you're doing Indy for both, right? You're training at both positions. Sometimes you're just going to miss some of the refinement skills of what other people would do. Whereas Marquis Grove's Killebrew has been doing nothing but cornerback work since he was 12 years old. Malachi's been doing all the work since he was 12 years old. Does that make sense? So this is a kid that is going to progress really, really quickly in college, but there is some progression that needs to be made. He's number one on my board because I do think he is Eric Berry reincarnated. He 100% is to me. The character that you hear about with Eric Berry, not only surviving cancer and coming back to the NFL, but all the charity work that he does in the Fairburn area down in southwest Atlanta. Just how clean of a prospect he is at every point. This kid is Eric Berry. He's going to be an all-pro whatever when he gets to the NFL, I believe. I believe solely in this kid. And look at this. This is what I mean when you can ask this kid to do anything. He throws that off balance from the 50 and it ends up 6 yards in the end zone. Just threw a ball 56 yards for the hell of it. For the hell of it. We're going to see some more offensive clips there. Just a super athlete. And if you watched Eric Berry in high school, or if you want to go on the YouTube machine after this show is done and see what he did back in high school, he was a triple option quarterback, just like Malachi. We've done that one on our film breakdown. You should take a look at it. It's worth looking at, okay? All this stuff's great, fine, and dandy. I'll be honest with you, I don't really care what he did on offense, other than the fact that I want to see it in college. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't care if you just hand the kid daggum jet sweeps and let him run. I don't care. I want to see him with the ball in his hands because offensively, he looks like Reggie Bush to me. Defensively, he looks like Eric Berry. Two of the best college football players I've ever seen in my entire life. That's who I see. On offense, Reggie Bush. On defense, Eric Berry. What more do you want? That's why he came in number one on my board and number one on a lot of people's board. And the number one thing I heard that I love, this is a term you're going to hear me say a lot about very specific kids, right? Very specific recruits. Malachi Starks is what you call an elite communicator. Okay, one of my notes on here is that not only do you get the best pound-for-pound player in the country, in my opinion, you get a leader. And it sounds cliche. It is not overrated. I think from now on, moving forward, you're going to see the University of Georgia take football players with extremely high character. Extremely high character. Okay? Now, there will be a couple of those talent outweighs the character decisions in every class. There will be. But there's going to be a whole lot more Malachi Starks moving forward. There's going to be a whole lot more Jake Popes moving forward. There's going to be a whole lot of I love Danny Dennis Sutton. Okay, I was completely wrong on him based off the people that I've talked to. If you went back and watched our D-line breakdown, they got him fourth. He's vaulted. He's jumped up after his official visit because of the things that I heard. Where these are 17, 18-year-old young men, right, that behave mentally like they're in their 30s. I'm talking Addison Nichols. I'm talking Malachi Starks. I'm talking Danny Dennis Sutton. They're not walking in saying, hey, what can you do for me name, image, and likeness-wise? No. They're saying, hey, what's your international business internships looking like? What are those looking like? They don't ask what your NFL conversion rate is. No. They're like, hey, what are your off-the-field opportunities here at the University of Georgia? Right? How good's your business department? How good's your law degree department? Whatever. You see what I'm saying? These are guys that know what they want to do after football. And while they're working for life that is in the NFL, they're also working for life after football at 17 years old. At 17 years old. You're going to see 4 or 5 of these guys. Jalen Walker, prime example. Jalen Walker is the epitome of a perfect personal evaluation. So is Malachi Starks. So is a lot of these kids that they're going to re-recruit. Addison Nichols, perfect example. Danny Dennis Sutton, perfect example. Okay, so all these guys that you're going to see moving forward, there's going to be a change. Okay, and that's what I think this class ends up as of today. As of today, with Deion Bowie's decommitment, I see this class shaking out with 6 defensive backs for a couple of reasons. One, offensive line class in 2022 is not great. Okay, it's really not. I would be hard pressed to find 4 offensive linemen that Georgia's willing to take other than just projects. And I think they're done taking projects at offensive line. They're going to take impact guys only moving forward. Tyler Booker being one of those. Addison Nichols being one of those. Elijah Pritchett being one of those. Outside of that, ain't a whole lot of them. So if you only take 2 or 3 offensive linemen, guess what? Because you're still loaded up at offensive line. You took 4 last class, 4 the class before, and you got a whole bunch of old dudes on that roster that still haven't played. Okay, so with how deep you are offensive line-wise, with how thin the offensive line class is in 2022, combined with how, pretty depth-stricken you are at defensive back as a whole, I think you take 6 this year. And I think those 6 are obviously Malachi Starks, Marquis Grove's Killebrew. I think you find a way to get back in on Trequan Fagins and Kamari Wilson and Keon Sabb and Jake Pope. And if you get all 6 of those, done. Wrap it up, put a bow on it. Probably one of the better defensive backs class that Georgia has signed. But it's that deep, okay? There are guys that I love, okay? My guys, okay? One of my guys, obviously Trequan Fagins we broke down tonight. One of my guys, J.Q. Hardaway, John Cleese Hardaway out of Columbus down there, okay? Elite football player. I think he's going to Phoenix City actually now, home with Justin Ross. But elite football player. 6'3", defensive back, real big, okay? Probably going to move to safety in college. Love him. Absolutely love him. Think he's a dude. I don't know if he gets in the mix here with Georgia, honestly. Marcus Allen, another really big, long corner. 6 foot, almost 6'3". Plays with a level of physicality that shocked me this spring, considering how wired thin he is right now. I haven't heard anything about him. He's 7 or 8 on this board. That's how deep 2022 is. Both those guys are going to play at Power 5 football programs and do well. Do really well in college. They're not on the board right now for me. From what I've heard, I would take them, but I don't know where you fit them. I really don't. That's the problem you're going with, or that's the crux of the position Georgia's in right now. They've got ample room to take 5 or 6 defensive backs, and there's about 12. No crap. There's about 12 that are Georgia and SEC caliber defensive backs, and you've got to pick the right ones. You do. And that's why I'm as high on Fagins as you can humanly possibly be. I don't know if he makes it in this class, but if he goes elsewhere, I promise you, and this is my opinion, you could take the receipts on it in 3 or 4 years, whenever it happens. If he don't end up at Georgia, y'all gonna regret that one. That's the dude I'm putting all the chips in on, and I'm fine. I'm fine with bearing the results of it. If you want to come at me in 3 years, come on. Well, I'll show you. I showed you why I believe it. I back all these opinions with film evaluation. So I hope you guys, call me out on it. Which at this point, if you can find a miss in the 2 years I've been doing this, if you can find a miss, please do. But I haven't missed yet. So maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year I miss. But I'm not going to miss on Damon Dumas Johnson. I promise you that right now. Not going to miss. That dude's going to be a stud early. Jared Wilson, promise you I ain't missing on that one either. Once he gets that body cleaned up, he's going to be a dog for the University of Georgia at guard. So hope you guys enjoyed this film breakdown, man. I love doing this stuff. We do it a lot over on Patreon, but it's more than that. Okay, if you want inside information on all these kids, all of what's going on this summer, I think we've been giving out 4 nugs a day. Nugs are what we call them, bits of information. We've been giving out 4 nugs a day for about a week now, Dicko. About a week now. It's no fluff stuff either. Okay, there's a bunch of really good stuff in there, including most recently a nug on Walter Nolan. So if you want to know what's going on there, hit up patreon.com/Brooks Austin. Hit that thumbs up before you leave, and leave a comment if you want. Whatever you want to see next, whatever film breakdown you want. I don't know if we had any super subs tonight. Probably didn't because it wasn't NBR. We had 2 of them?
2 of them. We got 3, but...
2 subs? 2 subs worth? 2 subs. I got 2 free subs. Okay, I'll tweet it out after tonight's show. I got 2 more free subs. If that's you, come hit your boy up. We'll get you figured out and get you set up. If money's been tight, whatever the situation is, you wanted to been trying out or you wanted to try out Patreon and maybe couldn't make ends meet, don't worry, the community's got you. Another reason why I love our community. I don't provoke them to do that. I don't. But they want this thing to grow as bad, if not worse, than I do. Because they believe in the product, they believe in the community, and they love what we do. And I love doing it. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Brooks Austin, the film guy. I'm out.